Hey everybody, this is Sam Miskovich from Ars Technica, standing here with Kyle Orland in the giant Nintendo booth at E3 2016, where they only have one game, and what a game it is, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We at Ars Technica got to try out not only the first 20 minutes of the game, the very beginning chapter where Link awakens in a strange alien place. We also got to try a sort of set-off chunk of open world play. We got to see a bunch of things, and we didn't get to see everything. There's a lot going on in this game.
There's a lot going on that's never been in a Zelda game before. It felt very unfamiliar. You pick up food, and then you cook it. Instead of just picking up, a health potion or a floating heart, you're sneaking around in the high grass and taking out squirrels with your bow and arrow. It felt like a totally different game, kind of like a Monster Hunter, rather than Zelda.
There was some Monster Hunter feeling, there was some Skyrim feeling, there's some survival-style gaming.
A little bit of Shadow of the Colossus, climbing up that rocky monster.
Oh, did you get to climb the monster and swipe at it? That was really cool. Totally a small Zelda-styled Shadow of the Colossus boss encounter.
I don't know about Zelda style. That's the thing. I know Link was there, and like the moblins I recognized from old games, but I felt like it could have been anyone. I felt like it didn't have any of those trappings, like, the elfish village that you start in, or, picking up hearts, a boomerang, a crossbow.
Yeah, they set you off. The one thing I would say is the beginning of it that makes me feel familiar. It feels like the very first Legend of Zelda, especially if you didn't have a strategy guide. You open up and all you do is go into a cave.
You have no idea what's going on.
You go into a cave, there's an old man, give me a sword. This game starts very much the same way, but in a much more grandiose fashion, where you wake up in a very bizarre alien chamber. An old man awaits you with mysterious messages.
At a fire.
A woman is speaking to you from the distance. Could be Zelda. I don't know. But we didn't get to do a lot of the things that were shown off in other gameplay videos. There was no riding up a horse and no stealthing up to a horse. No. There was no gliding through the air with a little parasail.
No, none of
but
that.
there was this strange sword-based combat or weapon-based combat where you would have your weapons break as you fought stuff. Yeah, it would be
at least in the rock boss, I was told that if you're fighting regular enemies, your sword won't break.
And I did go through a stream of regular enemies where a sword would break after a few of them, but they would all drop swords. You're constantly switching weapons and having different fighting styles.
And there was also
the
the stamina system, where you were running around at full speed at a sprint, hurts your stamina. Also, climbing up the rocks, if you climb too high and run out of stamina, you will just fall to your death.
Yeah, that's not pleasant. But I will say, the thing that was so interesting is that there are so many new non-Zelda maneuvers in a Zelda game, which means the 35 minutes total we got only scratches the surface. And what I feel like, the reason I like it, I have a bit of Zelda fatigue. I've loved the series for years, but I really hate when a game goes into the super familiar. Here's your boomerang level, here's your dungeon here. This is definitely different, decidedly different. I will embrace it because of the sense of adventure that I think of for Zelda. I think that may be a harder sell for people who think of Zelda as a specific set of things.
Yeah, I can see the idea of fatigue, but I feel like Zelda changes a little bit every time. There's new elements. It's not just making the same game over and over, but that familiarity is part of why the series has lasted for these 3 decades now. It's kind of a warm, comfortable blanket you're coming back to. This is like just so totally different that I feel like, why make it a Zelda game? Why not start a new franchise that's a Monster Hunter-esque survival? Nintendo could put its own spin on it, create new characters, and save Zelda for what we know.
And I think that's just a question that's going to have to remain unanswered until we have more sense of how the game grows and progresses, how much it ultimately fits into the Zelda style. Either way, I want to play more of the game, whether it's called Legend of Zelda or Legend of New Guy.
I'm really enjoyed it. It's called Legend of Zelda.
I enjoyed the art style a lot. I thought it was beautiful. It's definitely pushing the Wii U to its limits.
Yes.
There's currently in its early demo build, some frame rate creakiness, some blurry textures, some artifacting.
I feel like it might be built towards the NX, and the Wii U version is going to be, have those jagged edges and a little bit of... It's going to look a little old by the time it comes out.
But I absolutely felt like the wait that we each waited to get our hands on it, I thought it was worth it. I'm excited. I want to jump all the way in. I would prefer to have the little parachute so I don't die falling that far, keep my stamina up. But I absolutely am going to give this a thumbs up. I want more of it. This is near the top of my E3 list.
One thing's for sure, it's definitely much more massive than any Zelda we've ever seen. It's going to take a long time to really get into. 30 minutes, not nearly enough to get a full picture. I'm still unsold on whether the new direction is worth it, but I remain to be convinced.
Here we are, Siskel and Eberting. Our thumbs may be going slightly different directions, but we definitely came away interested, intrigued, and wanting more, which I think is a good sign for Nintendo. Only one game at the show, definitely one to talk about.
And definitely the booth here is like a theme park attraction. People are just wandering around, taking selfies with these things. There's food going up and down animatronically. This is what a Nintendo theme park would feel like.
And since they announced financial plans to possibly do one of those,
I can't wait for that.
Oh,
that gets a thumbs up from me.
Well, at least Kyle's going to leave here happy. Again, this is Sam from Ars Technica with Kyle. Thanks so much for hanging out. Like, subscribe, all that stuff for our videos. We got a lot more E3 content. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.